Hello, I am Bentham. Welcome back to Factorio Railworld, where today we are in Iron Outpost 2 because we have a bit of unfinished business. There was a biter attack and we are going to have our revenge. So there's a base right over here which has popped up since my last visit. So we'll just go in and just blow all that up, that's fine. Grab all the alien artifacts, and then there's one more down here which is a bit close, and apart from that I don't think there's any bases that are really close enough to be a threat. I could be wrong though. But this one has a few more spitters, so I take a little bit more damage, but it's still fairly easy to deal with. The worms are sort of the worst part of it because you have to you have to kill those first, or they'll just wear you down. But anyway, we can make our way back over to the Iron Outpost, see if we can catch the train home. The exoskeleton re-engages. Unfortunately, there goes the train right there, so it looks like we've got a while to sort of hang about and wait for it. So I just have a look around the outpost and check how everything's going, and have a watch of the radar, so you can see the train setting off right there, goes around the loop, and then it goes off into the bit we can't see because unfortunately it's night time, so the radars aren't working, so I don't get to watch it as it moves along. So I'll have to wait to see if the radars engage in time, and just as they start switching on, the train arrives anyway, so I didn't get to watch it, but it's here, so let's hop on board and take it home. And I just check on the loading rate of the iron and see how that's running, and it gets filled up from empty with time to spare, so I do a quick tweak to the timetabling to get the train running a bit quicker, because there's no reason for it to sit around in the station while completely full. So we make our way back home, and we can go and get on with some other things. So I have a quick check of furnaces, and the fact that half the copper furnaces are off tells me immediately that module production is finished, which means that we now have 50 of each kind of level 3 module, and we will no longer need to use any more like circuits to make them, but that's no fun. So what I do is I grab a bunch more alien artifacts, 150 of them, and I go over to the module production, and I put 50 into each of the assemblers, which basically will break the system. It will use up all of the level 1 and level 2s of each of the different kinds of modules and just completely break the whole thing. So that was probably a bad idea, but it keeps the factory running, and that's the important thing. I want things to be moving at ridiculous speed, so that there's never enough supply and I need to add more. So things start getting up to speed again. You can see advanced circuits starts to run down. Normal circuits will probably start to run down in a minute, and then that will start draining on copper, and then all the furnaces will have to switch on, so on and so forth. So what I'm doing here is I'm sort of checking around the factory, just sort of scouting out an area to build a new thing, because I've had an idea and it's a bit crazy, and it's entirely due to the series nearly being over. Basically, I don't want the series to end because it's fun, and I feel like we haven't had enough done yet. There's no, even though we've set up this cool rail network, but it's not good enough. It's not big enough. We need more, and time is running out. So what I do is I start building a bunch of rails. I'm just going to go out there and build more stuff, because this isn't a rail world yet. This is an empire. An empire is smaller than a world. More needs to be done. Making some signals as well, and at the moment, well, as I set off here, I don't have that much of an idea of what I'm gonna do, and I just start running, and I know that I'm about to put a lot more stress on this particular bit of track. So what I do is I add in a couple more signals to allow more trains to travel along it, and I decide that I'm going to build something here on this area right here. So we're going to this is sort of the center of where the rails all sort of converge in. Well, maybe not the center, it's a bit to the left, but as time goes on we'll expand further in that direction anyway. And I start building something. I've used a couple of poison capsules to clear away the trees around the place that are sort of in the way of what I want to build, and I start building this new station structure, and it's the same basic principle as the central station that I've got. The difference being that there's more of a slant to it, so it looks smoother, and I guess it is smoother for trains to run along, but it does mean that it's slightly weird in that the top station is a lot smaller than all the ones below it, and the ones below it get to be ridiculously long for their purposes. So I start putting it in, and the thing is I need to work out how big the top station needs to be in order to work out how big the whole structure is going to be. So I have to go back to the main base to go and grab some engines for such a purpose. So I've used up a bunch of materials already, and the logistics bots go a bit crazy resupplying me. I grab a bunch of engine units that I need to make some trains, and I can start crafting those. and I get a couple of trains made, but I sort of want to hang around and get a few more engines if I can, just to because at the moment I've got enough for 3 trains, but at the moment what I'm building is 5 new stations, which would correspond to 5 new trains. Anyway, we have an attack over in Iron Outpost 2. I thought I dealt with the biters, but apparently there's some coming from another outpost. However, this time there is no destruction, there is some damage, something gets hurt, something gets attacked, but it doesn't get blown up. So it looks like our improvements have helped. But what I do is I grab a bunch of stone walls, because I want to, at some point later on, go over there and build some walls to help defend that outpost. So anyway, we're over here at our circuit production, and a couple of episodes ago, I tried to add in another bit of circuit production, but unfortunately the belts just can't deal with it. There's just too much in these assemblies to add any more on. So I clear away this old bit because I'm going to need the parts for something. So I just do a quick check of everything else. Plastic actually is not looking too great. I didn't really pay much attention to that, but I think next episode I may go and check up on that and see how that's going, because I didn't even realise that was a bit of a problem. So anyway, we start running along again, and back over to the new structure that we're building. Here it is, and I've got some signals that I need to put in to make sure that everything stays working properly there. We don't get the construction of this new system interfering with the systems we already have in place. So I plunk down a train so I can work out the positioning. Unfortunately, I don't have any coal on me. I don't know how that happened, so I just stick some raw wood in it, and I name the station Test 1, and I get the train to park up at it so I can work out the positioning, and then I can start building the rails based off that. So I start extending this down, and just before I finish connecting it up, I put a couple more signals in to make sure everything runs fine there, and then we can get all of these sorted, and we can get this whole structure sort of set up and ready for some loading and unloading stuff to be built on it. Then we can put some more signals in here. They all start flashing a bit until they work out what they're doing, and then I stick some over on this side as well. So each station is its own separate block, and then there's a block for everything that wants to get into a station, everything that wants to get out, and then we can start putting in some unloading stuff here as well. Though I'm not really sure whether it's loading or unloading. At this point I'm still not 100% on exactly how this whole system, this new facility, is going to operate. I've just sort of got the basic idea of build, loading and unloading, go from there, and I'm naming all these stations Test 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 for now, and later on we'll get proper names when I actually know what they're for. The trains seem to be going a bit weird right now. They're trying to run by Test Station 5 rather than going along the normal route, so I had another signal to try and fix that. And then what I need to do is park up at Test 2 to work out the positioning for the unloading there. And that's another problem with the slanted thing. You have to manually work out a lot more stuff about positioning of inserters, because with the other station, once I had the positioning for one, I had the positioning for all of them. Anyway, there's another biter attack, which is a bit of an annoyance, so I decided to just drop what I'm doing, and I'm going to go over there and deal with it. So rather than go and find Iron Train 2, what I do is grab this train that I have right here, and I tell it to set off to Iron Outpost 2, and then I'll work things out when I get there. So we have some more biters running at the base while we're on our way, but this time nothing gets damaged at all. So we park ourselves up, and there's a couple of dead biters around the place. So after a quick early inspection, I decide that before I do anything, I need to sort out this train that I've just gone and plonked here, because the iron train has arrived and wants to park up. And also this train, I've accidentally had steal all of the iron. That wasn't intentional, it just parked up and got loaded with iron. So I'm going to have to do something about that. So what I do is I add in a new station on this side, on the top side, called Iron Outpost 2.1, and this will be where any trains in future will try and park. And you see I made the same mistake with signals there as I did with the oil and plastic trains before. I had it so that there was one what do you call it, one rail block nested within another one, and one train was trying to get in, one was trying to get out, and they just stopped. So I got that fixed, and then it's time to set up some defences. So first of all I put some rail gates in to work out where I can put them, and then from there I'm going to start building a bunch of walls, because there's enough of this. I've had enough of this, that's what I wanted to say, and I'm going to start getting some defences in place, getting some guns, some walls, so that instead of the biters running straight at all the machinery and starting blowing that up, they're going to have to get through our defences first. So I'm going to have sort of two sections here. There's going to be one section on the top for the whole loading system and a bit of the rails and where the train parks and so on, and then there'll be a bottom one for containing the actual iron deposit. So we start setting this up, and then we can get some substations in place. I'm going to cover this entire section with substations so that we can get laser turrets wherever we want inside the perimeter. So I just start putting these all over the shop, working out the positioning for them. I'm just going to put these all along here, complete overkill, and particularly on the top as well, we're going to put a ton of them lining the top, because this seems to be where the biters are coming from. Based on the dead biters that I saw, that seems to be where they're all deciding to attack. So then I get some conventional turrets as well, just in case these should fail, and also because it's good to have a mix of fire raining down upon your enemies, just in case they're more immune to one than another or whatever. And then I start putting some lights down, because I realised that I've been wearing the combat suit pretty much this whole episode so far, and if you don't like the green, which I don't really myself, of the night vision goggles, it can get very irritating. So I've just taken those off and put some lights around the place, and I put in a gate there so I can get down into this bit. The thing is, something I've now realised is that when the train is parked, that facility is sort of a bit open, because if the biters blow up the train, they can get through the gate, I guess. Then again, blowing up a train is a fairly mean feat, and if the train sets off, then it runs them all over. So that's probably a good enough defense system there. Anyway, I've got a ton of walls left, but no guns and no ammo. So what I do is I plonk the last couple of guns that I have, use the last bit of ammo that I have to supply them, and then I just put in the walls anyway because I have them handy. So there's a few trees to clear away there. I'm just going to encase this entire outpost in one huge wall, because it's easy and I'm lazy, so yeah. And I have these ridiculous amounts of walls with me because I went and grabbed a bunch after the biters attacked one time. So we get it nearly done. There's a few more that we need to do, so I just craft the last couple so that it's all done and ready. And then, because I like straight lines and things lining up nicely, I add in a couple more to get this position right and extend that out a little bit. Conveniently, the substations had just the right range on them for that size of wall. So when we hop back on board our random little train that we've got here, and we take it back to the new station. This time it's going to go to test station 3, so we can carry on working out the positioning of the inserters there. So down we go, back up to this new bit, and I've worked out the formula now for how the inserters need to be positioned. I think you need to move them over by 6 or 7 each time, but whatever that number is that I'm doing there. So I carry on putting in the loading and unloading for the remaining stations, and I stopped running out of materials because I'm back to the main base for a bit, and I've been building a bunch of stuff. So I'm sort of still not 100% on how it's going to work, but I decided that there's going to be some unloading going on here, sort of arbitrarily, and start working on trying to get them unloaded. And then I realised I've made a terrible mistake. I've made the system more compressed than it was supposed to be. There is less space in between each of the stations, and so I can honestly fit in a buffer system between each unloading area. So I start thinking of solutions. There's the possibility with the lower ones of moving the stations around so that there's a bit more space to breathe there, but I'm not really sure about that. And in the end, what I decide, well, actually, first of all, I try and get it so that they all just combine together anyway, and don't bother with them having a buffer system. And that works fine for this first one, but for the second one I realised that the first one is in the way, which is a bit of a pain. So it looks like this just isn't going to work at all. So in the end, I decide to scrap the bottom unloading system, and we're going to just have unloading going at half the speed it otherwise would be, because this is not this isn't Central Station where everything needs to go super fast. So we probably don't need things to be as high speed as normal, so we can have things being unloaded at half the speed they usually would, and from 2 carriages that should be absolutely fine. So we start clearing away all of the lower unloading, and we can stick in the buffer systems now, and they only just fit even then, and we actually need to do a bit of a fiddly system to actually get them to go underground to get by the other rails, so we have to have it sort of loop back on itself, which is a bit annoying, but I just sort of messed this up, so it's my own fault, and I'll just have to deal with it. So at this point I'm starting to get an actual solid idea of what I'm going to do with this, because I've sort of decided that the purpose of this outpost will be the production of circuits, because that's the only problem that the factory really has right now, that circuits can't be produced fast enough to keep everything fully supplied when you have all the modules going. So here I'm just putting in some substations, trying to work out the right positioning. Unfortunately, I'm not really sure about it because I need space for a coal line probably, and so I end up coming up with a slightly weird arrangement, but it does work and just about covers everything that it needs to, so that we just get these going down. There's a lot of overlap and diagonalness, but it does cover everything, so it works alright. So yeah, this outpost is going to be making circuits, and so what we do is we'll have iron and copper ore being delivered, and it will be smelted, and then the smelted ores will be turned, well, the plates will be turned into circuits, which will then be delivered to the factory, because we can no longer have we can no longer really expand the circuit production back at the factory. So anyway, what I've just done here is built the bullet train. This has no carriages. Its entire purpose is to transport me between this new station I'm building and this old one. So it goes to this station here, the 5th station of Central Station, that doesn't currently have a purpose, so I call it Station 5 because it sounds sort of cool and mysterious, and it is the 5th station. A ton of resupplying there by the logistics bots, and after looking at that I decided to actually deploy a few more, because we probably need that, and then I carry on looking around the factory. Well, first of all, I just need to go and grab a couple of things. So I need some more blue belts, and I need the bots to resupply me with a bunch of iron and such to make more underground blue belts, because I actually could only make one of those back when I was making the base, because I ran out of the necessary materials. I need to craft a ton of inserters, and I also start crafting some furnaces and some assemblers to help with the setup. Checking up on modules, I can see that everything is totally broken with that. We are entirely out of level 1 and level 2 efficiency modules and level 1 speed modules, which are the 3 types of modules that I actually keep stocked in my inventory, and that is a pain, because, well, we need the blue, we need the speed modules in order to make some more level 3 assemblies, so that is a bit of a problem. But anyway, while we're in the base, I start setting up some rails that go right into the middle of the production, basically, because I don't think we're ever going to need to expand the production of smart inserters based on how they perform so far. That production line has managed to completely supply blue science no matter how much I add onto it, so I don't think we need some space to expand it, so I just start building this huge rail thing here. And the purpose of this particular rail structure is to deliver the circuits. So what we need to do is get into position a station for that very purpose. A slightly cool looking layout, I think, where the loops sort of one curls inwards and one goes straight, and then one of them can have a station on, and the other one can harbour the trains that are just trying to get past for whatever reason. For now I call it circuits, and just leave it at that. It's still all temporary, and really I'm building this far too soon, because at the moment we have no circuit production that's sort of out of town that we're going to be delivering in from, and this is just sort of a very, very slapdash way I'm setting things up. I'm trying to plan it out, but I'm just running around and doing whatever bit's nearest, rather than actually getting some proper solid like systems in place. And I think that's just because I want to just build this cool new thing that I decided to come up with, and I think I've just gone a bit mad, really, because it's look at this mess. What am I doing? We don't really need this, but I want to do this because it's fun, because I love trains, and Railworld is going to end soon, and I'm not happy with this. But anyway, we've finished what we can on there, really. I've just had to leave it sort of open-ended because I don't know how it's going to work yet. And I wait for the bullet train to turn up, and annoyingly there's a bunch of trains trying to go through the Test 5 station, and they're actually blocking the bullet train from going along. Look at all these trains moving here. This is what I'm talking about, just having trains constantly queuing to get out of the station and get in again, because there's just so much going on. So we get the bullet train back over to the new station. Don't know what I'm going to call this, because this isn't Central Station. I guess this is the Circuit Factory, or something like that, as it will be. And now I actually start defining what each of these stations is going to be. So we've got Circuit Iron and Circuit Copper. We may need a second Circuit Copper station, considering I'm pretty sure that the circuits use a lot more copper than they do iron. I need to do the maths on that. It's fairly simple. I just need to look at it for 2 seconds. But anyway, I'm trying to work out where to put these furnaces. I'm not really sure. I want to sort of get them not too out of the way, but also fairly out of the way, so that they're not sort of blocking everything being unloaded and loading into the stations, and but they're also near enough that we don't have to send things miles. So anyway, I start clearing away a bunch of trees using poison capsules, and they are extremely useful for this, because it's just so quick. The only thing is you need to craft the things unless you have some handy, and at the moment, even though I have them being crafted back at home, I have not yet got it so they get delivered to my inventory, so I'm just crafting them myself anyway. So I start laying out the basic template for the smelting, and as is the purpose of a template, I do a bit of tweaking to sort of work out the exact spacing I want, because I want to fit like substations in between everything to make sure that all is nicely powered. Stick a bunch of efficiency modules in, but we've sort of run out of time now with like everything's half built and stuff. But next episode I will come back and I will get this all ready, and we will have some circuit production being delivered to the main base. I'm probably going to be doing it all episode, but it's going to be cool. We're going to have this whole new factory just to the west. So I wait for the bullet train, and it eventually turns up and I can hop on board. For some reason it took a detour to Copper 2. I need to sort out these random detours that they take. But anyway, we'll make our way back to the base, and I can go back into the center. And look at that new loop that's there. That looks pretty cool once you've cut off the bottom. And I should say goodbye. Thank you for watching. I can see you next time.